What's going on? Chuck here, and I've been doing a lot of recording lately. I have a big recording project I'm trying to get done and knock out one piece at a time. So, that was the cat train that just came through. I wanted to make a quick tips video about some tips about recording. If you're like me, recording can be a very stressful experience. And you might be getting frustrated sometimes, might not be able to get the take that you want, things like that. So I've kind of been through a lot of emotions with it. It goes much smoother for me than it used to, and it's not really because of playing. It's more because I've changed my approach. So I wanted to share a few tips that help me just kind of chill out throughout the whole process. Recording is awesome. I think it's great to finish a project. You know, if you want to make a video, share it with people, whatever, it's great. So I would encourage pretty much anyone that is playing the guitar to make a recording of some type, at least every so often. But if you're getting frustrated or you can't get the take that you want, maybe try some of these things and see if they help you out. So I'm going to say, I think 4 things really. The first thing is go ahead and just book the time you're going to record as like go ahead and chisel that out in your schedule. For me, I always practice 2 hours at a time, and then I'll put the guitar down and go do something else. So if I'm going to record, I just say, okay, I'm going to spend these 2 hours recording, because if I don't look at it that way, then I might think, well, I want to record this piece and then I'm going to do this or whatever. And then if I can't get a take that day, because sometimes it takes multiple recording sessions to get the take that you're looking for, then I might start to feel pressure. I might wonder why I haven't gotten it yet, and then I might get frustrated, and then, I'm just never going to get it at that point. So it helps me to go ahead and say, I'm going to spend these 2 hours playing this piece over and over. Hopefully at the end of it, I'll have gotten a recording, but if not, I'll have to do it another day. And that helps me accept right off the bat, okay, if it takes that whole time, then that's okay, because I've already planned for it in my schedule. And you don't have to spend 2 hours. It could be 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever the length of time is that you're going to record. But just plan that out. Say I'm going to record during this time. I'm going to spend all this time recording, so that way you're not surprised if that actually ends up happening. The second thing I would say is, if possible, leave all your gear up and set up, okay? It may not be possible for everybody. If you're just, if you've got like your phone on your music stand and you're recording that way, I think that's fine, as long as you're happy with it. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. So that would be an easy way to do this second point. But if you've got like a camera and a mic, try and leave those in the same position to require as little setup time as possible. Because if you have to set up and tear that down every time, then I can feel some frustration over that. Just like, well, I've had to do this again, and now I didn't get the take, and tomorrow I'm gonna have to set it up again. So it's much more friendly if you can pretty much just sit down, have everything where it needs to be, turn it on, make sure it's running through your computer, do your sound check, and then give it a go. The only thing that I put away is just my mic. It's connected to my interface, so I don't want that to get dust in it or anything like that. So I just take it off and put it in its case, and then everything else just stays where it is. If I'm recording, the camera stays right where it is, and then the interface stays right where it is, so I know right where the mic is going to be. But if you can, I would leave all that set as much as possible, so that you can just sit down, get warmed up or whatever, turn everything on, and get to recording as soon as you can. The third thing I'd say is I would do my best to just commit to playing the piece over and over all the way through. it really helps me to think, okay, I'm going to sit down for this session. Okay, for me it's usually about 2 hours. So I say I'm going to sit down for these 2 hours and I'm going to play this same piece over and over. That's all I'm going to do. And it actually makes me feel less pressure if I think that, rather than, and I want to get a good recording that I'm happy with, okay? Because if you play a few measures and then you make a mistake, so you stop and you restart, and then you start again and you play measure and you make a mistake, so you stop and you restart, and then you play again and you play for 10 seconds and you make a mistake, so you stop and you restart, like, that gets me in a real bad headspace. And not only that, but I think if you're not going through the rest of the piece or the rest of the section or whatever it is you're trying to record in one go, then you're not going to be as comfortable when you get there. You've just been playing the beginning over and over. And I think in the end, it helps you. I usually try to make recordings in one take, and it does really help with that, because in my mind I have to say, I've got to play this whole piece from beginning to end. So if I just do that and then keep doing that, eventually I'll get a take that I feel like is representative of my best playing. If I start and stop and start and stop and start and stop, then it becomes about I think trying to be too perfect. And that's not a good headspace for me. That is just setting me up to fail. So and whatever you're going for, as long as you're pleased with it, is totally fine. If you like a recording that's rougher around the edges, but you're happy with that, that's great. If you want a recording that's more pristine and like really clean, then that's great. You know, I just want a recording that's representative of what I think is my best playing. So I'm never going to play perfectly. So there's going to be little things that happen. But if I'm prepared, you know, most things are going to go the way that they should, and there's going to be little imperfections here and there. But if I feel like throughout the take, you know, musically, I feel like I said what I wanted to for the most part, and with just a little something thrown in here or there that doesn't really affect what's going on, then that's probably going to be a take I'm happy with. So it helps me to just get in the mindset of trying to make that happen. So if you start the piece and you make a mistake in the second measure, play the rest of the piece, I would say. And I said at the beginning, do your best to do this, because I know it's hard occasionally, because I want to be transparent. If I mess up right at the beginning, occasionally I will restart. Okay, but if it happens a few times in a row, I make myself play the rest of the piece, because I'm like, I don't want to get in this mindset of stopping and starting and trying to be perfect. That's not what this is about. So play the whole piece all the way through. I think it really will help you in the end. And for me, it like decreases the pressure and kind of the anxiety type feelings. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing would be just do your best to not get frustrated. I've gotten frustrated many a time trying to record, but when you're making music, there's really no place for frustration. Even when you're practicing, there's really no room for it. So if it's not going well, then I would say, you know, do one of two things. If you're not getting the take that you want and you're starting to feel frustration, for me, frustration does not help me. It makes things worse. So if you start to feel frustration, okay, option one, you could just put it down. Okay, and unless you're on some kind of professional deadline, probably you can come back to it the next day or another day and give it another go. Okay, just put it down. Go on and do something else. Try again later. The second thing is you can kind of use the information that you've gathered during this time where you haven't been able to get the take that you're happy with to work on the piece. You could just sometimes, I just did this today. Today I tried to record, I warmed up and then I tried to record for about an hour and a half-ish. About an hour into it, I just thought, you know what? I'm really not getting close. There's a couple of spots where I'm messing up pretty much every time, but just in general, I'll be into the piece and then there are just some moves that I don't know well enough and it just takes me out of the piece. And then I end up messing up. So I just started to play the piece slowly. And I turned my camera off and my mic off and I just said, I'm just gonna spend the last part of the session just playing the piece slowly. And then I ended up working some of those sections that were throwing me off every time. So that helps me deal with the frustration. If sometimes I do just need to put it down. But if I still want to play for the rest of the time, it can also be helpful to say, hey, I'm not going to get it today. I'll get it on another day, but it's just not happening today. So I'm going to think about what has happened today when I've been trying to recording, the spots where I've messed up the most, maybe just play the whole thing slowly in general over and over, and be more prepared to play it at a later day. In fact, you can even do things like try and do a few takes at tempo, and if it's not going your way, then just play the piece slowly once all the way through. If you've already carved out this time in your schedule and you already know I'm just going to do my best, and if I don't get it, I'll have to come back and get it later, then there's no harm in doing this. Okay? It'll help you relax, you'll be working on the piece, and then it might give you just enough experience with it to maybe you come back and maybe the next take happens to be the one. So, those are just some things that I've kind of learned over the years about recording. I've made a lot of recordings, and I've screwed them up in all kinds of ways. I've tried to record too soon. I've tried to record pieces that are too hard. I've just gotten frustrated. Sometimes you go in and you record and it happens fast. Most of the times it's an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes into a session where I'll finally get a take. Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it takes weeks. It's probably even taken longer than that. I've had a cat ruin a recording before. One time I remember I got a take and I was thinking, I think this is the take. And right at the end, my cat runs into the room like a bat out of hell and crash into stuff and just ruin the take. So I can't help you with that. As you saw, if you have crazy cats, I can't help you. So good luck. But if you want to make recordings, I think that's awesome. I think you should. And I wish you the best of luck doing it. If you ever get frustrated, or if you're not sure if you can do it, or you're just having trouble, try some of these things out. And hopefully they'll help you get the job done eventually. All right, well, thanks for watching, and and hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.